podcast. We are live.
Wow, look at I can't tell if I pushed it or you pushed it. I hovered over it and it played.
Oh, I pushed it.
It's a good thing I didn't push it then, because then it would have went tuk, tuk. Dude, welcome. And everyone else, welcome. Folks, welcome to the LifterLMS pre-sales call. We are here live to answer your questions about LifterLMS and WordPress. And I'm here with Magic Will Middleton. My name is Kurt Von Onen. And yeah, let's just get after it today, man. I would love to see people put comments in, like where you're calling from, where you're from, maybe if you're an agency or not, if you're making websites for yourself or for somebody else. And let's just have a conversation. Let's see what we can get going today.
Awesome. I'm excited. And one thing I want to highlight for anyone watching, the LifterLMS Black Friday All November sale. Today is the last day to get 50% off any LifterLMS add-ons. So lifterlms.com/black-friday. There's some bonuses you get with that, but 50% off is the big thing there. Photo guy calling from Venice, Florida.
Nice.
I'll put in the comments. Kurt, you're in Kansas.
I'm in Kansas, man. We just had a blizzard last week.
Wow. That's interesting. Did like any of the snow stay? Like that's further south than where I'm at.
Yeah, and it was pretty crazy. I went to a lunch in Kansas City, so me and the kid drove up. It was snowing when we left, and it wasn't snowing. As soon as we got out of town, it wasn't snowing. And so I went up and met some friends in Kansas City, and we had me and my son had a great day, and we went to the library and did all kinds of cool things that he wanted to do. And then driving home, dude, instead of being 3.5 hours, it was like 6.5, 7 hours. But they do an amazing job with the roads. I didn't have a single problem. Not a single problem. I saw cars and trucks. A plow ran off the road, was getting towed out of a ditch. But my old Dodge just kept on going. No problems. Momentum and a clear head.
Nice.
We got a great question coming in up that you great minds think alike, dude. We're killing each other today.
Yeah.
It says, if I'm using LifterLMS free right now, what themes do you recommend? This is always like pulling a pin on a grenade and throwing it into a crowd of people and seeing how many answers you get back.
Yeah, just like the free themes available with Lifter. I think LifterLMS Sky Pilot is probably my favorite LifterLMS theme right now, but that's not a free theme. That's involved in the Universe bundle or can be picked up individually. So like a free theme, I think Astra and Cadence are top tier free themes in that have like specific support for Lifter. There's a bunch of free themes though. There's a lot of them that you could work with. You could even work with WordPress default themes. Ocean WP, I remember at one point had some specific support for Lifter. But I think like if I were to build a new site from scratch, or I do build sites from scratch all the time, when I build sites from scratch and I'm looking for a free theme with Lifter, I go with Astra now a lot more. Or Cadence if I really care about that dashboard styling specifically that they have, but it's a toss-up for me.
Yeah, I've done a lot with Astra. I'm surprised at how much I've actually done with Astra. And I opted to go Astra Pro, right? So I have Pro and Spectra Pro and all that other stuff too. And solid products. The other thing is, and I don't know if you've played around with this or not, Will, but the 2024 theme from WordPress, it actually looks pretty strong right out of the box, man.
And LifterLMS is compatible with full site editing themes because LifterLMS introduces some blocks like the course syllabus block and the pricing block and stuff like that. But it's a WordPress core Gutenberg compatible theme. So yeah, I haven't checked out 2024, but that sounds like a great option as well. I like full site editing. And I think, honestly, if you're thinking about upgrading to Sky Pilot later or something like that, 2024 might be the move, right? Because then you can design your header and footer in blocks. You can get used to the block editing interface and then switch block editing themes later. That's the nice thing about these block themes, full site editing things, like 2024, like Lifter Sky Pilot, is you can switch between those themes pretty easily. And so I think 2024 is a serious consideration.
Yeah, it's such a deeper question than people give it credit for, right now, just because everything seems to be in such a great deal of flux. There's big news this week was Elementor changed its pricing and its offer for people getting in. They don't get as many features as people like old school folks like me on the same plan. And, on one hand, that's cool, right? Because it adds value to my agency, right? Someone doesn't want to pay an arm and a leg for stuff, right? So are you trying to turn the light on?
I got a bunch of remotes. I'm trying to figure out.
That's fancy. So, but when you look at, Elementor from a performance standpoint, if you don't need all those tools, if you don't need, what's coming to the party with that, sticking with the block theme is the smartest thing to do because it keeps the site faster, keeps it light, and having that skill set like you've got right out of the, with full site editing, that's the newest. That's the way things are going to go. So, why not embrace it as early as you can?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And so Cadence, and you can find Cadence and Astra 2024 WordPress. I want to see this thing.
Let me see this thing.
See what this looks like.
Let me see what's going on.
Oh, that's cool. And blocks, I guess. So if you like the WordPress block editor out of the box, probably this is the one to go with. But if you're going to go that Elementor route, probably an Astra site. That would be my move there.
Yeah. Boom. So see that photo guy? You ended up getting both our inputs. Look at that. First into the call, first with a question, right up front.
Boom. Awesome. Well, I'll look at that more later. I'm reading the page. But this was a comment on our YouTube channel. Thanks for the video question. How do you display a page list with a list of course favorites? Is there a shortcode for that or something else? It's a good question. That's a complicated question. That's a really complicated question because LifterLMS has a favorites feature. I think it's in like beta right now. It's not like officially released or documented yet. But I don't think that's.
You can have fake favorites.
Like where you like just select as the site admin which one's the favorite.
Yeah, so you create a category called favorites, and then you display courses by category, and the category is favorites.
Okay. Yeah. That's one way to do it, and that's pretty reasonable way to do it. I made a tutorial a long time ago about how to have people click a like button on your post types, like your courses or lessons or whatever, and then display the most liked lessons or courses. So there is a way with a third-party plugin in that tutorial, like 20 minutes tutorial, to create that setup. But
wow,
yeah, there's a few different ways to solve that problem. I like Kurt's solution, just simple out of the box. You choose which ones are the favorite. You could also just collect that data in the back end of the website and manually update it over time. Like at LifterLMS, we have this thumbs up button on the documentation that says, was this helpful? You could do something similar, like, is this a course you like? And then they click the thumbs up button on the back end in the WordPress admin. You see the number of likes that it has. And then you just update it once a month to see which one's the most favorited. I think that's a really viable solution. But yeah, it looks like Photo Guy in the chat actually asked that question on YouTube. Yeah, Photo Guy 3917. Yeah. And so let us know the solution you found. I did not find it initially. LifterLMS is built in. Awesome. Let's explore that feature a little bit. I don't think we've done a lot of announcing about it. Let's see if I pull up. I have to look around my ring light now.
Well, in all fairness, Will, you've been a little bit busy with Black Friday and Cyber Monday and Diligent December.
Diligent December. Absolutely. Let's move this.
Adam Silver says, "Hey, he's with us for the count."
Nice. Lesson favorites. Okay, so it's in the Lifter Core plugin now. So why not figure out how it works here on the live stream?
Have at it, man.
Share my screen. And so this one, we enable lessons. So this would not be course favorites. This would be lesson favorites. But if we turn that thing on, go to courses, and my screen is really tight. Maybe this would be a good use for like a second monitor, but I don't want to be like looking over here when I'm showing my screen. So I got to figure out how I can have my cool camera, but also see what's on my screen.
Dude, do them stackable monitors.
Stackable monitors. I haven't seen that.
And then when you get really famous, you go.
Put like a whole monitor wall. It's like I gotta look up. Let's look at the comment section, and I look up and I can scroll through. I could like mount the iPad to the ceiling, and then maybe do something funny like that. Very cool. So we have a little heart button that is formatting. It's a little bit strange with the Sky Pilot theme, but how do I mark this thing as a favorite? Let's figure that out.
Click the heart. Click the heart.
I clicked on that, but it's not doing anything for me.
Click the heart in the sidebar.
Maybe I think that's just gonna take me to the lesson. Yeah, I'll figure out how that works here in the background and show that. But that's a new feature, kind of a experimental thing we're still putting together. But Kurt, have you seen any interesting questions in the last week or so?
There was one that I had answered on Facebook last night. Let me jump into that. Let me see if I can find that. It was under. Yep. It was the video conferencing question that comes up every now and then, and I feel like sometimes we kind of beat this subject up a little bit, but you know what, dude? I guess it's worth having. Let me recycle this and get the right link for it. Yep, there we go. I'll put the link into the chat. Copy. So people periodically will say, "Oh, do you guys have, a live video stream feature as part of your LMS?" Right? And then we put out a resource. I don't know, what was that, about a year ago or so? We talked about connecting with Zoom, and I'll put that right in there for us. But you can connect Zoom through your WordPress website. So what I like to really point out is, LifterLMS is awesome at its core purpose, right? Which is managing the learning content and the memberships. And then it's also super friendly with other third-party tools. So if you wanted to, integrate with Zoom, you can do that. You can integrate also with some other really cool new tools. One's called Jitsi, Jitsy, Jitsi, and another one is called Whereby. And all three of those work really, really well in your WordPress space. And then you can host your live meetings, your live sessions. You can embed those sessions directly into lessons if you wanted to use the lesson and course structure. And it works really, really well.
Nice.
So that was one. And I'll put the link up on the screen there. But the Lifter LMS blog has that up there. Liven up your course with live Zoom sessions. But that was I think the reason that kind of caught me off guard yesterday, Will, was, it's like, when you think you answered it, you think you handled it, you think you've covered it, and then all of a sudden someone asks again, and you're like, oh, dang, I thought we covered that. But we have to realize there's always an influx of new people. There's always, there's always fresh eyes that are coming in that are new, and they're going, oh, well, how do I do this, or how do I do that? And so sometimes we need to go back and, especially on the pre-sales call, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just fiddling around in the background. LifterLMS version 7.4.1. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's pretty new. I'm still figuring out this favorites thing in the background. But cool.
Right.
So we got Photo Guy's question answered. I can see why people love you. That's nice. That was a comment from YouTube.
I can see why people love you.
Give that one a heart. And this was a question of purchase. So the purchase and billing enrollment form. So we can take a look at the form system here. If I go back over to my screen, in LifterLMS, when you're creating a form for somebody to sign up to your course or membership, we usually create them with the access plan system, where you go to a course, edit a membership, and you can say that there's a one-time payment required. You could say it's like a monthly payment. Any kind of payment system you want to set up, you could do that in access plans, and all of your access plans on the checkout page will use this billing information form. It can be found under LifterLMS forms. If you wanted to edit this, this is a really interesting way where if you have the LifterLMS Infinity Bundle, you could add custom fields to this if you wanted to collect custom information. But even if you're just working with the free LifterLMS plugin out of the box, you do have some options to add blocks in here. You could add blocks in WordPress that are not LifterLMS default. If you wanted to put like a picture on your checkout page, if you wanted to put some testimonials in your checkout page, this would be a good way to do that. But you can also just modify the text of these fields if you wanted to change, like, the email address to say, what's your email? If you wanted to match some brand specific language, what's your email? You could make it more casual in that way. You could add some explanatory text. You could change the difficulty requirements on things like your password, minimum password strength. You could change it to weak. You could change it to 6 characters. A few different options you have related to the blocks on this page. But we had a question come in around, how do I customize that purchase page and enrollment page? And I think that's a little bit of something we don't talk about a lot, is the LifterLMS forms and how powerful this can be to collect that data upon sign up. It could be, what are your goals for this course? It could be custom data. It could be modifying what's already there. There's a lot of options that are available here for customization that not a lot of users know you can customize.
There is a lot hidden back there. I just did the customized form thing for one of our clients. They wanted to add company name as one of the required fields.
Yeah, that's a big one. Like, if you were to collect company name on that field there, you could, with LifterLMS custom fields, you could then print that on the certificate if you wanted to. Say, collect company name on checkout, print company name on the certificate. That's another feature that LifterLMS has I think it's in the core plugin, these user information shortcodes. But then if you're creating custom fields with the LifterLMS custom fields add-on, you have access to all of those anywhere you are on your website. You can even go to pages, add a new page. Anywhere you're typing in like a paragraph block, for example, you'll have access to these LifterLMS shortcodes. Zoom in a little bit. Shortcodes. And then here we can see some shortcodes I could use. I use this one all the time to say like hi first name or something on the student dashboard. You could add that in the header, the footer, anywhere on the website. I think this demo might actually have it. Let me go to the front end real quick. I think this has it in the upper right. Yeah, welcome Emily. So this is going to be like from that shortcode to say whatever the first name of the user is, populated there. A lot of creative stuff you can put together with these shortcodes. And then if you were to create custom fields like company name, that would appear at the bottom of the list automatically when you create that with the LifterLMS custom fields add-on. Good stuff. Well,
nice.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just in my mind. I was just thinking, because it's the short codes are, once you get comfortable with the short codes, and they're not overly difficult. I think the concept, that switch in your head that makes it easy has to happen, right? Like short codes, they seem, I don't know, overwhelming at first, I guess is a word, but once you get comfortable with them, dude, it's almost like someone goes, oh, I wish my course catalog looked like this. I'm like, well, then make it look like that. Make yourself a course catalog, throw the short code in there. It's done. You want a different dashboard, build one. It's, throw the short code in, it's done. And once you get comfortable with kind of slapping that kind of content around, you can do a lot and really have more of what you think you want. My last 2 projects that were in Divi, for example, they wanted like a completely like stripped down course and lesson experience. Like they just wanted, one of my clients doesn't even have course material. They run workshops, live workshops, and they just want the lesson page to lead to that live meeting, right? And so they just want a full width page, no sidebars, access to the meeting, and then a couple of corporate blocks that are on there, like, get a full listing of workshops and join our newsletter, kind of things. And real plain example, dude, like you pull up and it's just so clean because it's just there, and it's like, okay, cool. It doesn't have it doesn't have all that clutter around it. And so it's once you realize what you can do with the short codes and embedding the dynamic content throughout the site, you can really kind of open up your design space.
Yeah, there's a lot to be unlocked there, especially with dynamic content. LifterLMS doesn't have dynamic content support in SkyPilot directly, but if you're using something like Advanced Custom Fields Pro or Elementor Pro or any product that supports that dynamic content, that's a really interesting thing to study in WordPress, especially with templates and what we see in full site editing. So if we're creating a custom course catalog, I just wanted to highlight this a little bit quick because we talked about it briefly, but I don't know if I need some kind of blocks add-on to make this work the way I want it to. Are there any kind of tab options or a drop down? I'm trying to see, because I usually use Cadence blocks as an example of a free plugin that I can use to make sort of a tabs layout. Maybe a page break. What do you usually use, Kurt, when you're doing in blocks the custom course catalogs?
I've done tabs, and I've literally have just broken out, kind of like where you see what you're doing right there. I do like a short code for a category, and then so I put a header, a heading. I put in a heading for the category name, and then I put in a row, which would be the short code for that category of courses, and then a separator, and then just duplicate that over and over and over again for the 5 or 6 different categories that they have.
Okay.
So it's super easy. It's just literally just, heading, category, separator, heading, category, separator, and bam, bam, bam. And then when it's done, I know that this sounds overly simplified when I say it like this, but when it's done, it looks good, it presents good, the clients are happy, and I think it makes it easier for the end user to kind of focus on what they want to focus on.
Right. It just makes it a lot easier to find content. Let me throw some courses in my technology category real quick. That way, I'll have 3 courses in each category. Perfect. So I've featured and technology as my 2 categories. We can see the slug here, featured and technology. That's what we would need to go in my custom course catalog page here. Featured, and then this one is technology. I've never done a page break for this, so we'll see what this looks like. This is the featured category. And then we'll duplicate, send that thing below the page break, and this will be the technology. Update. Let's view this thing. Page breaks are really powerful, and I've seen our users work with them to great effect, but I haven't worked with them myself that much. That's kind of weird how it says like 1 and 2 at the bottom, so I probably would not use a page break for this, but that's kind of it. In lessons, that's something I've seen people use where they break a lesson into like a bunch of parts, and then they can have like part 1, part 2, part 3 as a part of a LifterLMS lesson, because we've had that question come in a lot. It's like, how do I have more of a breakdown in my course outline, where in the course builder you can do courses and sections and lessons, but some people want to use more terminology to break things up. And then we recommend, if you want to do one more level, you could do a membership, where you have a membership that groups your courses, which groups your sections, which groups your lessons. But you could also, inside of the lesson, maybe have like a resources panel. Part 1 is the resource, part 2 is the video, and part 3 is the quiz button. So it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 setup. You could do that with page breaks, and page breaks are a part of WordPress out of the box. But I think what I would probably recommend for customizing course catalogs would be something like Spectra or Cadence blocks. Let's do Cadence blocks. That they have tab options as a feature, and any blocks tool you're comfortable with working with that offers you a tabs or a toggle style feature, you could do that. And these shortcodes that I'm adding to the custom course catalog page here could also be added to Elementor or Divi or Beaver Builder or WP Bakery or any any page builder you can think of, you could add these in. So it doesn't just have to be the WordPress block editor. And so now that I have Cadence blocks installed, let's see if I have the tabs block as an option. I should. All kinds of other options here. You got accordion. I want to do a tabs though. I think it's called tabs. Yep.
I like tabs.
There's the.
And you were kind of talking about the strategy side of things, with people wanting to break down their courses more and more. And, my answer might be a little more contrarian for you, Will. When I talk to clients and they're talking about wanting to break it down more, or having extra layers of hierarchy in their courses and lessons, the challenge then becomes, well, how can we simplify your course then? Your course, because you have to think about the learner in the process. So is your course really 3 courses in one, right? When you break it down in the sections and lessons, are you building a giant, monolith 90 lessons course, which really should be 3 30 lesson courses? It's always interesting to take a look at the strategy and try and simplify things as much as possible for your end user. And the more that they can get done in chunks, the more dopamine they get, and the higher their chances of success will be. So if someone has one giant course that's going to take 6 months to do, chances are, if they do a course in 2 months but have two more courses to go, they're going to be kind of excited because they got something done, and they'll be more excited to get into the next section.
Yeah. I was talking to a course creator like 2 days ago, and they were on the fence about, are they going to do like 3 20-minute videos, or are they going to do, as I recommended, they break it up into like 3 to 5 minute videos, and then do, if they did 5-minute videos, they'd have 4 times 3. So they have about 12 lessons in their course. And this is a YouTuber person. So I was thinking that on YouTube, of course, you want to have, you're optimized for engagement because it's a free platform. So you want to like hook people in at the beginning and keep them watching, so you get long watch times, you get user interaction and all the stuff. But when you're building a video for a course, it's a different ballgame because they've already signed up to your platform. They've already shown that they're definitely interested in your content. So then you don't have to worry about having a 10-minute video so you can place 2 ads. You don't have to worry about the same things. You're thinking about like, how do you get the user dopamine? How do you get them sold on continuing to the next lesson? So I think the 3 to 5 minute video strategy makes people really feel like they're making progress through your.
Yeah. In the corporate training world, they call that micro learning. That's the theory in adult-centered learning, is to constantly give the user to have some type of way for input, and to constantly be hitting them with the, you've got this done, you've got this done, you've got this done, so that they can keep moving to the next thing and get those dopamine hits.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. And in Lifter, not only are the features of an LMS relevant for helping people learn, but helping people stay engaged. You could add quizzes, even if your course doesn't necessarily need to have a quiz as a requirement, or it's a quiz or a course people take for fun or just personal growth, cooking, whatever. You can do a simple 3 question quiz that's like multiple choice, that's very obvious to answer, but creating more opportunities for people to interact with your site, I think adds a lot of value in that way. Let's see. So when are we getting our internet stipend? Because I'm struggling to finish my courses due to a lack of data. Interesting. That's a interesting limitation when you're working with uploading content to a WordPress install, to a WordPress host, and you're dealing with data issues. That's something we don't talk about a lot, is making a website and learning content accessible to those in regions with difficult internet connections, where I think it's been on an LMS Cast podcast before, but we think about adding a video content to the lesson as a pretty obvious one, but then adding a PDF, adding text adding some kind of a downloadable format, maybe an audio version of the video lesson and a PowerPoint slide. The more resources you can add in that way, maybe possibly using the tabs block that we just showed here for the course catalog from Cadence Blocks, you could use that inside your lesson. So you could have the video lesson, you could have the PDF version, and you could have the audio version. And those things are really nice for those who have to commute to get good internet, where they can download the audio, they can download the ebook, and then go to somewhere that has bad internet, but they can still consume your content. And so I like having multimedia for that purpose. But most of the people who I'm serving with my courses specifically are course creators, so they have usually access to good internet because they're building websites to teach other people. But there are some strategies you can deploy for poor internet regions or things like that to be able to get that learning content out there.
Not for nothing.
Yeah.
What you just built with those tabs is pretty clean looking, dude. I mean, SkyPilot's it's a good looking platform.
Yeah. I've noticed a few like CSS things that are weird, like the LifterLMS favorites you could see was kind of strange looking, but that's a new feature, so that'll probably get worked out pretty quickly. Where when you're in a lesson view, see, my internet's breaking up now, so I'm gonna need some kind of a solution for that. Like this, what's going on there? I don't know what that's about, but the general look and feel and like the rounded corners, like I really like the layout. And then Cadence Blocks is smooth. This could use some spacing probably at the bottom here. It doesn't need to run up against the edge, but like you said, there's not a lot of design customizations we need to make to have this be fully professional, fully designed. And a lot of this stuff is mobile responsive, tablet responsive in a really great way out of the box.
Yeah. You know, that's the whole, someone goes, oh, well, I wish there was more options to style this, or I wish there was more. And I'm always like, well, what more are you, what's the more that you are looking for? Right? Like, what's your definition of the more? Because go to any major corporation and look at the training site that they're using and see how much more advanced it looks than what you've already got.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it doesn't look any more advanced. It probably looks worse.
Yeah. So it's, you know, you always gotta, I don't know how to quite explain it. You know, it's kind of like when cohorts came out and people were like, but what else does it do? And I'm like, what do you mean? What else does it do? That's a fancy ring light you got there.
I want to fix the ring light setup. I keep having to look around this thing and it's really annoying. But what I can do is bend the ring light, move this up, and then I could put my phone on it.
My ring light is behind my monitor. See?
Yeah. That would be another good solution. I want my camera to be relatively close to me. And for any course creators who haven't seen this before, if you're an Apple user, like what I'm doing now, they released a new feature where you can use your phone as a camera for your live streams, for anything. If you've got a Mac computer and an iPhone, you can use them together to leverage the quality of the camera, because the iPhone camera's got like pretty decent quality, much more HD than the iMac camera I have. So that was a sweet upgrade, and I'm just trying to work out the kinks in my setup with my cheap ring light. How much was your ring light, Kurt?
It was free. It was a gift. So I haven't got a clue.
Nice. Mine was some cheap stuff from Amazon, but I should probably get a better one because this camera setup is awkward. I'll keep working on that. But what are the comments and questions that we have from YouTube in the last week? We talked about the enrollment form. There we go. Hello, is it possible to have an add to cart button on the front end so students can purchase more than one course at a time, or does the enroll button work the same way? I guess, Kurt, do you think you could take that question about creating a setup with WooCommerce, creating a setup with a cart system, or going with the Lifter out of the box?
I was trying to think about that actual question. So with WooCommerce, it's a cart system, and every time you select something, it gets added to the cart. So you could buy more than one course at a time. But then with the LifterLMS payment gateway, it really just does go straight from enrollment to payment, right? So you can't really stack up unless you go backwards. But like the user doesn't instinctually think that they can go backwards. Like it doesn't say continue shopping, you know. But if you go backwards and select another course, it would get added. So I don't know. That's a clumsy one. I think that if you're looking for the add to cart, full cart functionality, there's nothing wrong with adding WooCommerce to your stack and leveraging it in that way. Now, if you have recurring billing subscriptions, then of course you would need the subscriptions add-on from WooCommerce to make that a complete package.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That does.
Yeah. But, and I know that there's things out there like I've got a couple of clients that use SureCart. I've got, people on WooCommerce, obviously. Woo to me is just, it's the standard, it's the, if we're going to say that something is a gold standard in the WordPress atmosphere, I'd say that that's the standard. And then everything else is the option from it.
Right. WooCommerce really does have kind of a hold in the marketplace. So yeah, you could use WooCommerce, BigCommerce. I would probably stick with WooCommerce because Lifter has a direct integration with them. If you're trying to sell physical and digital products, if you're trying to have an add to cart feature, if you want to integrate with something like QuickBooks that LifterLMS does not directly integrate with, you might want to go with a WooCommerce setup. But like Kurt said, there's a little bit of a disadvantage to a WooCommerce setup if you're doing recurring payments, because WooCommerce has an add-on. It's like $240 a year for WooCommerce subscriptions that lets you do those recurring payments. LifterLMS has that built in out of the box whenever you get a Lifter Stripe gateway, Lifter PayPal gateway. Recurring payments are just are built into those, and that's because Lifter is designed with courses and memberships in mind, and so that was obviously going to be a popular feature, where WooCommerce was designed with the mentality of like, let's create an e-commerce shop to sell t-shirts. So there wasn't that idea of recurring payments being a core part of their offering.
Yeah, and Chris Production, look at that. Hi, I'm from Munich, Germany, a new customer since yesterday. Welcome to the fold, Chris. Welcome to the fold. I don't even know how to say welcome in German, and my last name's Von Onen. That's really sad.
But it was. Yeah, one thing I was talking about with somebody as well this last week was the idea when you're doing automation. So if you're going above and beyond what LifterLMS does out of the box, you want to install some kind of an automation plugin to maybe send data to your email list tool if you're using an external CRM like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or something like that. Or what else would you want to do with automation? There's like a million things you could do with it. You could send data to your accounting software. You could have a custom built software. You could send data into the website. But when you're thinking about, am I going to use Zapier? Am I going to use something like Sure Triggers? Am I going to use WP Fusion or Automator WP? Am I going to use webhooks? Do I need to hire a developer? There was one consideration that of sharing data with third parties. When you use a platform like Zapier, they do have access to the data that you're sending to their platform. So you'd want to put that, like, of course, in your privacy policy and everything to disclose, like, hey, we're going to send your data to Zapier in order to send your data to ActiveCampaign so we can email you. And then WP Fusion, as an example, or Automator WP, one of those kind of tools that are in the backend of your WordPress website and send data directly to those third parties, like ActiveCampaign, for example, are interesting, like just point A to point B. It's just 2 points from your website directly to that service. So that's something to consider when choosing an automation tool is, are you benefiting from introducing a third party into that setup where it goes from your hosting server to Zapier to ActiveCampaign, when you could just go from hosting directly to ActiveCampaign. You could make the one-to-one connection. So that's something to think about. And but there are some advantages to sending it in the Zapier's direction or some other third-party tool. Some of the advantages might be insights about automations you could create to support your business, because it's like ClickFunnels. Not only is that a tech solution, it also proposes sort of a business solution of like, you don't know how to create a landing page, we'll help you create a landing page. Like there's nothing you could do in ClickFunnels that you couldn't do in WordPress. And in WordPress, you can do so many more powerful things. But ClickFunnels is specifically positioned to like offer you that business advice in addition to the tech solution. And so you might have a platform like Zapier where you're studying the cookbooks or the recipes, I think they call them, where you have like, did you know you could do this interesting thing with your data between your Google ads and your Facebook ads and your WordPress website? Did you know about this? So like that kind of business suggestion is something that you might want to consider when having those third-party platforms. But you do want to understand that it's a little bit less optimized from the technical perspective, but you might be getting some business advantages. I think that thinking about that in that process of how am I going to set up my automation when leaving WordPress is fascinating to think as like, are we going to have virtual assistants setting up automations so we can't necessarily use webhooks all the time? That webhooks would be a more optimal way to do it, but it's less user friendly and there's less business insight value with just going from point A to point B. So I think if you're leveraging that value, it makes sense. But if you're not leveraging that business value, you're looking for a perfect technical solution, then use something like WP Fusion or Automator WP webhooks to directly send the data back and forth. I was a bit of a rabbit hole. I hope that was useful. I think that's something we don't really talk about that much, but is an interesting thing to think about.
It's perfect for new people on the pre-sales call.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay. So welcome to LifterLMS. Welcome to creating a course. Now that we're sending data to a billion different applications, here's how you do it. That's an interesting point. Is that with LifterLMS, you can really set everything up you need if you're new to building courses on the internet. If you're new or just trying out some experiments, Lifter's got that whole package for you, most of which is in the free core plugin, where you can create your courses, create your memberships, create enrollment links. Really, a payment gateway is something you'd need early on if you're going to be doing payments for courses. And that's in the LifterLMS Earth Bundle, which today is still 50% off. So
Tell me more.
Black Friday 23 is the coupon code. I probably have it as a banner here in StreamYard. Well, it's here, but there's also the coupon code. 50% off your first year of anything, including the Earth Bundle. So you can get that for, I think even a single payment gateway like Lifter Stripe is $120 a year. So that cuts it down to $60 for your first year on Black Friday 23. So really, really easy barrier to entry right now. But if you're in that position where you're just creating courses, trying to validate the business and check if there's customers who are interested in this, I think with the Black Friday sale, 50% off your first year of a payment gateway, $10 for your hosting. So you had $60 for your gateway, $10 or probably $15 for a domain name now. It's like, so you got $75 total plus a hosting package you could get for $12 a month for one of the hosts that is lightweight, where you're just validating your course offer. You don't have too many students at the time. So we got 12 plus 75, so it's 85, 87. So you're at about $87, $90 for a totally functioning website that you can build yourself from like a 4-hour YouTube video tutorial, from not knowing anything about WordPress and how to build a website to having your own website, your own domain name, your own hosting for under $100. I think that's like really cool. And then like, of course, that includes the LifterLMS core plugin plus the payment gateway was in that math. So you can start selling products on the internet, automatically enrolling people into courses and memberships with that super low barrier to entry. And you could do emails. When people sign up for the course, they could automatically get an email from LifterLMS with the engagement system. I'm doing like a sales pitch. I'll show this.
Yeah, and you can customize that.
Yeah, you can customize the colors with the LifterLMS Labs product. If you're willing to get in there and build it yourself, you can get started with under 10 hours of work from scratch, like not knowing anything about WordPress. You could probably do that in about 10 hours. You watch a video tutorial, you play around with it for a few hours, and you'll have a grip on how to build websites with the tool. So, this is like a course sign up welcome letter. You can really customize this thing to say, hey, first name, let's get one of these merge codes in here. What? Oh, copy this code into your thing. Okay. Hi, first name. Then, welcome to the course. Reach out if you have any questions. I like that setup. I've done that for a few courses where I have a simple LMS setup with Lifter. Like I'm not using MailChimp. I'm not using anything outside of WordPress. It's just like, here's a course. It's a paid course. It's like $20. And as a part of that, you also get like a 30-minute coaching call. I've been setting those up for years, but it's just a wonderful way to set up these little experiments. And I think like if you go with a host like Hostinger, for example, where you can pick up, I think for like $12 a month, I bought one like 2 weeks ago. You get like unlimited sites. So if you're like a starting out entrepreneur figuring out what your product and offering is going to be, you could pick up like over the course of the next 6 months, if you want to launch some projects and just see how you can be, test out the waters and become a digital nomad, you buy like 4 domain names over the 6 months as you build these websites and experiment. You got like 4 web properties on a $12 a month hosting set up to accept payments. And you could have like a free Calendly account where people sign up or if they want to book a meeting with you, and then also a free Zoom account because you don't need to do meetings over 40 minutes. With their free plan, they have a cap at 40 minutes. So you have free Zoom account, free Calendly account, your Lifter gateway is all set up. You got like 4 websites and then hosting at like $12 a month. Plus, I'm assuming you're buying 1 domain a month and building a website. That's just a really interesting way to break into the entrepreneur online space, I think.
I saw that one come in. I don't blame them for being overwhelmed.
How much support material I got after the purchase. So far, I'm very happy with our decision. That's a better way.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Feedback. The sun's starting to go down because it's 1:45 p.m. here. So the sun's in my face when I lean in to read the questions. But are we? So we're now on.
I think EloPage is a host over there in Europe.
Okay. Oh, $120 a month. No difference in function. Okay. No big difference in function. Yeah. So a lot of times hosting fees will change by, I mean, in the EU, there's also the GDPR considerations as to like how your host stores and manages data. So hosting a website that serves European customers is also very important to have the considerations, like have your host be mindful of those things as well. So that's probably a part of that cost. And then also if there's like a reasonable amount of customers, I mean, I'm sure they have great support. So yeah, there's definitely like a whole range of hosting. I don't know what we pay at Lifter now for hosting, but it's like many hundreds of dollars a month for just hosting a website that gets a ton of traffic. We've got like ads running for Lifter. We've got people signing up, doing e-commerce purchases, downloading the Lifter LMS products and adding them to their website. The license key system, the LifterLMS.com web property is doing a lot of business or whatever. So it's got a lot of traffic, foot traffic. So there's a lot of hosting costs to that. So you'll find as you scale your business over time, costs will increase like that. But yeah. An LMS hoster. Oh, so they're an LMS hoster. They host their own LMS software.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think it's more like it's more like a European Kajabi.
Oh.
It's got online courses and coaching businesses and mobile apps and all kinds of stuff in there.
Nice.
That's the cool part about doing business with people all over the world, man. You start to see what other people are using.
Yeah.
I got someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and they're watching the show right now. That would be as if, and I think he's over. I'm not sure where he's located, but they've got like something like 120 developers. They do work on all kinds of stuff. So it's cool to see someone checking in from LinkedIn and making the connection, joining the show.
Awesome. Welcome to the show.
He needs to be on the agency link.
Oh yeah, that's a banner, I think, in this. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. LifterLMS.com/agencies. Oh my goodness.
Oh, very good.
I feel like Uncle Fester. I got to get some sun. I wasn't feeling so good yesterday. I slept like half the day away. All right. Did you see the question I put in there? That was from La Rosa. Because, he was asking, you can block, you can hide blocks, you can hide content based on membership level and things like that. But he was asking about, can we hide or restrict a whole category? Like, I know if you have Sure members or another membership tool like that, you can get into categories and tags and stuff for restriction. But just through LifterLMS with our membership tools and restriction, we don't really restrict by category, right?
Not in that way. There's LifterLMS categories. You can't, like, categories are just taxonomy for organizing courses. It's not like a check that's run when the page is loaded.
Yeah.
Of course, that could be custom developed where you say on page load, check if the user's enrolled. But I mean, even in that case, restrict access to an entire taxonomy. That's a good question. It would be, I'm thinking like a custom code, of course. The custom code would just check for enrollment status and then query the taxonomies of the returned values of the users enrolled in these courses, query if any of those courses meet the condition that they're in a certain category, and then if so, load the page. If not, exit the page or redirect. So it's totally possible with custom code, and it wouldn't be that hard. I would assume it'd be a relatively small codable job, because restricting a custom post type in that way is probably relatively easy. But unfortunately, I don't think there would be a lot of free solutions out there in the WordPress repository. You could look, but access restriction is kind of a feature that only membership and LMS tools really have. So I wouldn't think.
I think Sure members let you restrict by category.
It's a good feature. It's like it makes sense for sure. But yeah, that's with Lifter specifically. That would have to be.
Yeah. That was good to ask. That's on the it's on the Facebook page. I'll pop in an answer there.
Nice. Cool. And Chris said, we have snow here in Bavaria. Is that how to say that? Very cool.
Where?
And probably somewhere in Germany.
Bavaria.
I don't know where that is. I was in Germany, but I was in
You were there.
Yeah. I was there like a few months ago, but I don't yeah.
You were there.
Yeah, I was just, I don't know what I was up to, but I was answering a question over here in YouTube. Oh, here we go. Is it possible to let users use their own custom domain names? This was a video on our course marketplace video. So with LifterLMS and some other tools, you can create a course marketplace solution. Kurt, you've done a course marketplace style site before, right? And I've done like 2 of them for clients. I think they're a nightmare, and most of the people who want them set up don't need them. But if you are set on creating that course marketplace setup, that instructor setup, it's definitely possible with Lifter, and there's a few avenues to get there. There's not like a third-party product that's just marketplaces for Lifter yet. So there are a couple of tools you'd combine together. LifterLMS has an instructor feature where you can set individual WordPress users to be instructors to create courses in the back end of your website. They don't have access to plugins and themes, but they do have access to I should just share my screen and show this. If we change one of my users to an instructor, users will change Tyshawn. We'll edit the user role from student. We'll change them to instructor and see what they can see. Boom, instructor. Save changes at the bottom. All right, there we go.
Everybody says they want a marketplace until they try to get people to use their marketplace.
Right. Oftentimes it's like a $3,000 investment then nobody shows up for. So that's why I recommend using these like Lifter features out of the box to start with, where maybe you would give a user access to upload media and create courses in your website, but they don't have access to plugins and things. You could do something like this and then have like maybe 5 or 10 instructors create courses in this way. It's a little bit more manual work for them. It's a little bit of like a WordPress way of doing it. And some people don't like the WordPress admin appearance or think that they want to customize it. And there are ways to customize the WordPress dashboard in the backend to make it more modern, and you could implement one of those. But I think that's a perfect minimum viable product to create a course marketplace system, because I think until you have like 5 instructors creating courses in your platform that are not you, it's not really worth investing in that full infrastructure to have reporting on the front end, to have all the custom development or custom freelance work. Like what my customer wanted to create a site like Udemy, so we were using Elementor and all these fancy forms to create courses in the back end when they filled them out on the front end. It was a lot of work, and what ended up happening was the instructors, and these were instructors teaching code, so they were lazy. They didn't want, I don't mean to say they're lazy, they just didn't want to put in the work to do it. They would email their videos from Google Drive folders to the company. So the company had developed this interface for people to create courses in the back end of create courses in the front end of their website, and it was all smooth and it was great. And the instructors didn't even want to use it because they're like, here, let me just email you. I uploaded it to Google Drive. Here's the link. Can you do it? And then, they paid, at the time this was like 4 or 5 years ago. They just paid me to go enter the instructor's content, and I was doing it on the back end of the website. It's like I built this infrastructure to make it really cool on the front end, and then they ended up just sending me the videos and Google Drive links, and I would upload them to Vimeo and then just make the course in the back end. So it just wasn't really used. And I was like, it's kind of like, why did we do that? That project is like, I got paid to do the project, but I was like, what are we doing here?
All right. I'm going to go out on a limb here, buddy.
Yeah.
I didn't do this with you before because I quite honestly forgot where it was. How about that? That shows you the success of my course marketplace platform. So, not there. Here. Why did it not go there? Hold on.
No problem. But yeah, are we getting a tour of your course marketplace?
Yeah. So I showed you the main website, that I try and tell people that we have course marketplaces, but kind of like what you were talking about, if you click on, instructors, it says become a course creator, orders and shop settings. So the whole idea is to give guest instructors the ability to add their own courses, but then set up the system so that there's a revenue split that automates on the back end. So if someone wants to become a course creator, they go in and they fill out the form, register, and then they become exactly what you said, Will. They become part of the affiliate program in the back end of the website. They can add content as an instructor, and anything that they sell becomes an automatic revenue split based on whatever the percentages are that you put inside your affiliate program.
Yeah.
And then there's group enrollments, which I thought was pretty good, so that you could sell groups of training. But
how does that, is that just like a WordPress form, like a Gravity form?
Yeah, it's a WordPress form, and then you process it like a manual order on the back end, like through the manual payment gateway.
Okay, so then you send them an invoice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't know what the dollar amount is. You don't, I left it open. Like, which membership or single course are you enrolling in, and how many seats do you require, right? And then each instructor is going to have their own pricing. So, there's a lot of variables there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think solving the problems you have rather than solving the problems you're going to have is the way to focus there. Because like I would assume people come to the front end of your website and they assume that that's automated, but it's like it doesn't need to be automated until it becomes a problem that it's not automated. Like until one request form a week, and now I'm spending like 30 minutes creating an invoice every single day. That's when it's like we gotta create some automation here. But for the moment, it's like, why not just do it manual if we're not processing orders that are annoying or process.
Well, and how annoying is it if it's worth thousands of dollars?
Right. It's like, yeah, if you're getting like a $2,000 order every day and for your 30 minutes of invoicing, still might not be worth automating. I mean, at that point, it would probably take a $2,000 job to automate that in Lifter, I would assume, in like custom development, because what would need to happen is the intake form happens, the payment happens. That can all be done relatively simple with like a Gravity Forms payment thing, but then it would need to create a group, probably create a group automatically, assign the number of seats in that group to the number from the gravity form submission that they purchased, the number of seats, and then it would need to add a group leader, which was the email of the person who purchased, and then also email that group leader. So this would be custom functionality to make all these pieces come together, but it's possible. And with that, we're at the top of the hour.
It's beautiful watching your ADD just fall into place. Well, dude, I guess I'll see you for office hours in about an hour. I think we're done for today.
Absolutely. So anyone watching on the call, we're going to be live in LifterLMS office hours. That's for Universe and Infinity level customers. Some of the people on the call probably have access to that. So you'll get an email with a Zoom link. Me and Kurt will be live in Zoom with other LifterLMS power users. You could still get access to that call before we go live. 50% off Black Friday 23. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next stream.
Yeah, it was cool seeing some new folks sign in.
Absolutely.
See you next week.